Good morning, this is WION Wallet. I am Sumit Chaturvedi and let's go straight to our top stories. Reports regarding a possible partnership between Indian automaker Tata Motors and German automobile giant Volkswagen have resurfaced. India's third largest e-commerce online company Snapdeal will lay off 600 employees across verticals in coming days. Absconding but living it up, liquor baron Vijay Mallya, spotted at an F1 event in the UK, dismisses charges of being a bank defaulter, claims India has no grounds to extradite him. And International Monetary Fund or IMF has slashed India's growth forecast to 6.6% in 2016 and 17 year. Now straight to our top story, where reports regarding a possible partnership between Indian automaker Tata Motors and German automobile giant Volkswagen have resurfaced. Tata Motors, which is not a dominant player in Indian market, has been exploring partnerships with a few other multinational companies in recent years to enhance offerings. In the past, Tata had also explored partnering with Peugeot to help the latter re-enter India. However, the French car maker is now entering India with CK Birla Group, which used to manufacture the Ambassador car. Reports have also emerged that Tata Motors is exploring tie-up and a possible collaboration with US auto giant Ford as well. Moving to e-commerce market, where once a success story, India's third largest e-commerce online company Snapdeal will lay off 600 employees across verticals in the coming days. The SoftBank Bank-backed Gurgaon-based online firm also said it would stop paying all founders and sell its digital wallet free charge. Snapdeal co-founders Kunal Bahel and Rohit Bansal have taken a 100% salary cut, while many others at the firm have proactively offered significant reduction in compensation. Snapdeal, which has been struggling to raise fresh funds, is also eliminating non-core projects to focus on profitable growth. In an email to employees, Bahel conceded that over the last 2-3 years, with all the capital coming into this market, the company and the entire industry started making mistakes. Now straight to our Mallya story, where liquor baron Vijay Mallya has seen at an event in UK amidst talks of his extradition. Speaking at the event, Mallya said that India has no grounds to extradite him from Britain and he would not be leaving. He also dismissed the charges against him of being a bank defaulter and said that not only one or a single penny was misused. He has been under Indian agencies' radar after he fled away to Britain without paying back $1.4 billion money which he took as a loan from various banks. Recently, officials of India and UK held meetings seeking ways of his extradition.
It all started with the failure of Kingfisher Airlines, which is a public company. The government-owned banks are trying to hold me personally responsible for the failure of India's largest airline and to repay their debts. I have a counterclaim on them as well. That is in the judicial system right now. But then, recovery of loans made to a PLC is a purely civil matter. The Central Bureau of Investigation, at the behest of the government, converted it into a criminal matter. And then charges of defrauding banks and money laundering appeared. I will and am severely contesting all this legally.
Now, International Monetary Fund has slashed India's growth forecast to 6.6% in 2016-17 fiscal. This is due to pressure emerging in the economy caused by demonetization. In its annual report, IMF said demonetization would have only short-term impact on the economy. The organization further added that economy will bounce back to its expected growth of more than 8% in the next few years. India's economic growth rate projected is 7.2% in 2017-18. According to IMF, while expressing concerns over the implementation of the goods and services tax, IMF said adoption of GST would help India raise India's medium-term GDP growth to over 8%. Now, in a breaking news coming at this moment, in yet another consolidation move in the telecom industry, India's largest telecom operator, Bharti Airtel, informed the BSE stock exchanges on Thursday that it will acquire Telenor's India assets. While the move comes at a time when new entrant Reliance Jio has acquired 100 million users and the market is awaiting response on a potential Vodafone Idea merger. Bharti Airtel did not divulge the financial details of Telenor tie-up in India. Today, it has been informed the exchanges. Well, this is a big combination of two telecom giants. Well, remember, Telenor was operating in India under Uninor brand names. Now, a big revelation from India's IT sector, where India's big IT services companies have ganged up to keep salary of freshers low, taking advantage of oversupply of software engineers at the entry level, says industry veteran TV Mohandas Pai. Pai said as against offers of rupees 2.25 lakh per annum that used to go out for freshers 2 decades ago, they have risen only to rupees 3.5 lakh now, which suggests a massive decrease in real wages from an inflation-adjusted perspective. Pai, who has served as Chief Financial Officer at IT major Infosys from 1994 to 2006, said it's a very sad fact that big companies are talking to each other not to increase fresher salaries. WION managed to speak exclusively to Mohandas Pai on this issue. He is an expert of this exclusive conversation with our Bangalore correspondent Nishchita Virendra.
Well, in the backdrop of fears already existing in the Indian IT sector over Trump's protectionist policies, Mr. Mohandas Pai, the former CFO of Infosys, has raised another issue. He has gone on to state that Indian IT companies are ganging up to not pay workers as much as they can be paid. Let's quickly go to Mr. Pai himself and ask him what exactly he means by his statement. Sir, you use the word gang up. What exactly is gang up? How are these IT companies ganging up against the employees?
It means the CEOs of this companies and people below them are talking to each other and telling each other not to raise the fresher salaries. I know it for sure. Okay, I know the conversations. I know two CEOs who told me this personally. And, it's a very sad thing because freshers have not seen an increase in their starting compensation for the last 7-8 years. You can look at the data. The data is very clear. And all of them pay almost the same within a 5% band. And it means all of them are together. And parting, I think, is very unethical and it must stop. And I think they must pay people, freshers, more. The real income of these people has come down over 7 years. Over 7 years, inflation has been 70-80%. The UPA, last 5 years, UPA was very bad. And these people are coming because they want jobs. And they all gone to engineering. The number of graduates come up is gone up. And the young people say they must be given a fair deal. They're not being given a fair deal. And in lieu of this, people at the senior levels in the last 7 years have seen rise in income by 2 or 3%. Some CEOs are paid exorbitant salaries. But I have no objection they're being paid salaries that fair to people at the bottom. It is these people at the bottom who come in, who get trained, who write code. People in the first 3 years of work are the main people who write code and do all the hard work. They work 13, 14 hours a day, 6 to 7 hours, 7 days a week. They don't get overtime. And they slog their butts out. And you've got to be fair to them and not just keep the salary the same pace which is there 7 years ago. And that's why people from tier 1 colleges don't want to go to service companies. And the service companies have to understand, if you don't get the brightest from all over India, 5 years, 10 years later, you're going to be in trouble. This industry was built by the brightest minds in India. And you need to be fair. And this fairness seems to have gone away instead of the selfishness, self-centered compensation increases. And the boards of this company should inquire and see why the differential between the starting salary and the highest salary has become so wide. It was not so wide for 5-7 years ago. So I think it's gone wrong, and I think it's time they introspected, and it's time they became much more fair.
All right, and also one of the factors that really enables companies to do that is the surplus of talent available, surplus of engineers available in the market. But you also went on to speak about the level of attrition increasing because of this unfair pay that has been given to them. So what really is the direct impact that it will have on the industry as well as the individuals involved in it?
You see, the service companies are large employers, and after working for 1 or 2 years, some of them go for higher studies, some of them try to join other companies and go elsewhere, so they get out. If 100 join in the first year as a fresher, at the end of the third year, there are possibly about only maybe 50 or 45 left. So attrition is very high, and the reason is very clear, is pay. So people leave jobs, and the companies get hurt. They don't understand high attrition is bad for them, and they get hurt. And I think there's stagnation about 10 years. Because there are a lot of people there getting very good salary. They're stylish about 10 years. And in the senior places, like I said, the salaries have become very, very high in the last 7 years. I think there has to be some fairness. And this industry was a good employer, was a fair employer. And this industry built the educated middle class. And fairness demands that the 3.25, 3.5 lakhs should go to at least 5 lakhs.
Well, this was part of our exclusive conversation with TV Mohandas Pai. Well, moving ahead, India on Wednesday approved a plan to double the capacity of solar power projects to 40,000 megawatt from the current 20,000 megawatt. Power Minister Piyush Goyal laid out the plan and said that 34 solar parks with the capacity of 20,000 megawatts had already been approved in the initial phase of scheme. India has committed to a huge expansion in renewable energy and improving the energy efficiency of its rapidly growing economy. The government has also released a 10-year blueprint, according to which 57% of India's total electricity capacity will come from non-fossil fuels sources by 2027. Let's hear out Power Minister Piyush Goyal.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today the cabinet decided to double the capacity from 20,000 megawatt to 40,000 megawatt of solar parks capacity, and towards that end an additional 50 solar parks will be approved and set up all across the country. Broadly, they will have about 500 megawatt capacity each.
Now, over 1 lakh Ola Uber taxi drivers have gone on an indefinite strike in Bengaluru over demands of better incentives and higher salaries. The ongoing protests also took an ugly turn as many protesters indulged in vandalism and passengers were moved out of cabs in mid-journey at several places. Angry drivers also ransacked Uber office. Commuters bore the brunt, with many of them stranded and forced to look for alternative modes of transport. Since December, the taxi drivers and aggregators have been up in arms over various issues, from incentives to fares. They have been demanding service providers to adopt government fixed fares and scrapping 30% commission per ride that are among the other demands. Now, news from the telecom space, where India's big telecom companies Bharti Airtel, Vodafone India and Idea Cellular will be forced to slash data rates soon. Indian telcos are working on new strategies to hold on to their upper-end customers, with Reliance Jio's Infocom's decision to offer unlimited voice and nearly 30 GB data at a modest monthly charge of Rs 303 from April 1st. Reliance Industries chairman Mukesh Ambani on Tuesday said existing Jio customers would have to pay a nominal Rs 99 membership fee and another Rs 303 a month to avail of all the benefits of the unlimited voice and data Happy New Year offer. Jio's latest move, analysts say, is clearly aimed at luring Airtel, Vodafone and Idea's top-end customers, among whom a section is already using Jio as a second SIM. Analysts also say Bharti Airtel is likely to have the least number of defectors because of its national 4G coverage and a premium brand position. However, Idea, with no 4G coverage in Delhi and restricted 4G spectrum in Mumbai, is likely to see the highest rate of defection. Analysts expect Vodafone to be somewhere in the middle of this. Now to a story which is WION Impact, which is following the scare caused over European skies last week when one of its planes went incommunicado for a few minutes and led to rushing of fighter planes. Jet Airways has sent a stern reminder to all its pilots over radio communication. Jet Airways told pilots radio communication is a critical link in the pilot ATC system. However, it can be broken with surprisingly speed and disastrous results. The mail says the airline then went on to list vital dues as mandatory compliance when instructed by ATC to change frequencies. Select the new frequency as soon as possible unless instructed to make the change at a specific time, fix or altitude. The confusion last Thursday was caused when the pilots had to switch over frequency during changeover from the ATC of a region in one country to the ATC of another region in another country. Now to some global news where the European Union has said it is ready to accommodate more Indian IT professionals and denounced any form of protectionist in global trade amid anxiety over Trump administration's possible clampdown on H-1B visa. Pushing for deeper trade ties with India, a delegation of European Parliament's Committee on Foreign Affairs also expressed regret over failure by both sides to resume the stalled dialogue to firm the long-pending EU-India Trade and Investment Pact. Soon after taking over as US President, Donald Trump had decided to overhaul the work visa programs like the H-1B and L-1, a move that will adversely hit the lifeline of India tech firms and professionals in the US. Well, this is time for a break at WION Wallet. After the break, we will continue with our coverage of markets, both India and global. Stay tuned. Now straight to our market coverage. Let's start with India, where Sensex opened with gains of around 90 points and is trading around 50 points up now. Nifty has reclaimed 8950 point and it's now up by around 15 points. There in global markets, Asian markets were trading lower in early morning trade following a mixed close on the Wall Street overnight as minutes from the Federal Reserve's previous meeting hinted that a rate hike would happen fairly soon. The Nikkei in Japan was down over 0.30%, while the Hang Seng was lower by 0.26%. Kospi was also trading lower, a tenth of a percent. The Taiwanese market was marginally higher, but the Singapore Strait was up close to 1%. Let's go to our market guest today, who is Dhaval P. Vyas from Ahmedabad. Good morning, Mr. Vyas. First of all, let's talk about the biggest story that is coming at this moment. Bharti Airtel has announced that it will buy the operations of Telenor in India. Now, the telecom wars are becoming very, very fierce. How do you see the whole telecom stock panning out today, whole telecom sector panning out today?
Hi, good morning. See, looking at the kind of consolidation phase we are going into the telecom industry in India, overall the idea is basically there would be, a bit of price surge comparatively in telecom space over a period of next 5 to 6 months. So there would be definitely some stability just because the players would be lesser and lesser as we passes, days. But overall the idea is basically they do not provide any value buying at current levels just because ARPU from Reliance Jio would be quite high compared to the existing structure of most of the telecom companies. So there would be definitely some intense price war going on in coming months. But overall the idea is this consolidation is definitely good for industry in long term, as well as this competition is also very attractive for consumers.
Well, Mr. Vyas, what should be the strategy of an investor if he wants to enter telecom stocks at this moment? Are there very low up and downs at this moment in telecom stocks, or can he come and continue investing in telecom stocks?
From the very beginning of 2016, basically, we have been repeating Tata Communications as a buy. Tata Communications, if you notice, then most of the telecom space were moving down while Tatacom was moving up, and it's already at all-time high. Still, after 19% upside in current year, we still feel from the levels of 746, it can move towards the levels of 900 if one can hold for 1 year. So it would be a kind of buy call on Tata Communications. Second is Bharti Airtel. One should hold on to Bharti Airtel for targets of nearly 430, 440 if the holding period is more than 6 to 8 months. So overall, we remain a bit bullish, but this is not a great time to accumulate in huge quantity. One can accumulate these telecom space in medium to lower quantities.
Mr. Vyas, today is a day of expiry also. So you expect markets to be volatile during the day today? Well, because it's expiry day, so you expect markets to be volatile in the trade day today?
Mostly, see, expiry days are a bit volatile, but last time we had a good day in expiry. Overall, the idea is basically we would be looking at 88.70 levels very closely, just because if we can close today as well as tomorrow above 88.70, which is likely to happen, then it would be a weekly breakout, and it would help to attract new buyers in Nifty as well as some of the other stocks. So overall, we are looking at the targets of 90,100 as well as 90,700 over a period of 6 months. Overall, the idea is basically for today, especially, we can see some selling pressure or profit taking coming in around lunchtime, but it would be a kind of 30-40 point fall, and again a buying opportunity.
And Mr. Vyas, what about the global markets? We saw Asian markets were lower in trade today. They have been under pressure from the last many days. Do you see any kind of recovery over there? How are Asian markets particularly are going to pan out today on tomorrow?
Asian markets are likely to attract important portion of basically fresh money, just because the kind of rally we have been seeing in US markets is quite significant. Plus, now the upside would definitely be a lower in a sense if we think in terms of 1 or 2 months time. Definitely, Dow Jones is heading towards 21,500 as we last spoke around 19,800. But overall, the idea is now the upside potential comparatively in Asian markets is comparatively better. So fresh money would be mostly parked in Asian markets, especially in emerging economies like India or maybe China also.
One last quick question, Mr. Vyas. It's about the IMF forecast. Well, India is going to grow at a rate of 6.6% now. How do you see this kind of forecast impacting markets in the long term?
What we believe is basically many of the players were looking for the forecast around 5.8%. But overall, the idea is this forecast eventually will be taken out by the market. So overall, the idea is still this is a buying opportunity, and we believe that this is just a fresh leg in the uptrend. So overall, the idea should be buying on dips, irrespective of whatever the forecast comes. Just because our Indian economy, if it can face the demonetization, then after demonetization, next few quarters would be definitely good and better. So overall, the idea is we are heading towards a great economy in years to come. So overall, cashless economy will definitely help to the government as well as citizens. So overall, it's a big plus for economy.
Okay, thanks so much for talking to us, Mr. Vyas. So that's all for today from WION side. Stay tuned to WION for more news and updates. Thank you for watching us.